The voicemail was short. My father's voice, steady in a way that suggested this had already been discussed somewhere else. Don't bother coming to the family reunion. We're cutting ties. There was no explanation, no pause to soften it. Just a decision, delivered cleanly. I listened to it twice, not because I didn't understand, but because I was trying to hear if there was anything underneath it. Hesitation, maybe. There wasn't. So I texted back, understood, that was all. I put my phone down and sat there for a while, not waiting for a reply, not expecting one. What stayed with me wasn't the sentence itself. It was how familiar it felt. Not the exact words, but the shape of it. Decisions made elsewhere. Conversations I wasn't part of, outcomes presented as final. This time, though, it didn't leave me searching for a way back in. It left me looking at what was still tying me there. The business loan was the obvious one. My name had been attached to it years ago. At the time, it felt like support. Something temporary, something that helped stabilize things while they grew. Over time, it just became normal, like a background obligation no one talked about. I logged into my account the next morning. Reviewed the documents, the terms, what my involvement actually meant now. Then I made a call. It wasn't emotional. The person on the other end didn't know anything about my family. They asked questions in a neutral tone, walked me through what could be done, what would change. I followed the steps, signed what needed to be signed. By the end of it, my name was no longer part of it. There was no announcement, no message sent to anyone, just a quiet adjustment. The first day passed without anything happening, then the second, around the afternoon, my phone started lighting up missed calls. One after another, my mom first, then my dad, then both, alternating like they were trying to reach me from different angles. I didn't answer, mass followed. Call us. Is something wrong? Then, later, the tone shifted. What did you do? Emails came next. Longer, less controlled. My father's messages read differently now. Less certain, more urgent. Sentences repeating. Questions layered on top of each other. Still no mention of the voicemail. Still no acknowledgement of what had started this. Then there was another voicemail. Not from him. From someone I recognized only by context. This is regarding the loan. We need to speak immediately. There are implications here you may not fully understand. The voice was tight, professional but strained. That was the first time it felt external, not just family, something structured. Something that didn't adjust itself around their expectations. By the evening, the calls hadn't stopped. 78 missed calls, according to my phone. I scrolled through them once, slowly. There was a message from my mom that I opened, then closed, then opened again. Please call, we didn't know it would affect things like this. I read that a few times. Not because it was unclear, because it was. There was still no connection made, no acknowledgement of the voicemail. Just surprise at the consequence. Later, another message from my father. We need to talk. It wasn't a command this time. It read differently. Less like a decision, more like a request that hadn't been fully formed. I sat with that for a while. The silence around me felt different now. Not empty, just unclaimed. I thought about calling back, about explaining, about asking what cutting ties had actually meant to him when he said it. But I didn't, not right away, because for the first time, I wasn't trying to close the gap they created. I was looking at it, understanding its shape. The next morning, the messages slowed. Not gone. Just less urgent. Like whatever had been immediate was now settling into something more complicated. I eventually sent one message. I'm open to talking, not to undo anything, just to understand what changed. I didn't add anything else, no reference to the loan, no reference to the voicemail. Just that. Hours passed before a reply came. Okay, nothing more. I put the phone down. There wasn't relief. There wasn't closure. Just a shift. They had made a decision without me. I had responded without asking permission. Now whatever came next would have to exist somewhere in between, and for once I didn't feel the need to rush toward it.